In this video, I'll show you how to build a full page navigation menu using JavaScript. And before we start working on the actual code, I'm actually going to be using the code from the previous lesson where I was showing how to build a modal overlay in JavaScript. So basically, I've just copied the entire code from that example, and that's going to be my starting point. So to test it out, let me click on the trigger modal button, and that brings up the modal, where I can press the X button to close the modal or the cancel button, which also does the same thing. So here there's going to be a lot of reuse of what I've already coded, and you'll see in this example how easy it is to convert a modal overlay to a full page menu in JavaScript, HTML and CSS too. So to start, let me start by updating the code inside the body of the index.html page. And I'll basically be changing all dimensions of the modal to menu, because I'm of course no longer working with the modal, but rather the menu. And also I'll be changing some content inside as well. So for example, I no longer want to have the close button right here. And now let's also change the modal body to menu body, and these two p tags are no longer to be used. Instead, I'm going to just add an anchor tag with an empty href, and I'm going to say that link 1, and I'm going to duplicate this and name it link 2. Okay. Now in the menu footer, I'm just going to keep a single button, and this single button is going to have the class of close, and is going to say close. Alright, so I'll still keep the trigger modal right here to be the button that triggers the menu, and I'll be updating it a bit later. For my CSS, I'll go scroll back up, and let's start by updating the class names so it's no longer modal overlay instead of its menu overlay. I've got the display of none, position fixed, all of that. I'm no longer using the semi-transparent background. Instead, I'll set my background color to orange. Then menu overlay show is going to have the exact same code as before. Modal wrapper will no longer be used, so I can just delete this bit. Modal header becomes menu header, but the code is not changed. Also, menu header h2 still has the same CSS properties, and the button is no longer needed. So let me save those changes, and now I can finally reflect my updates in the CSS and the HTML code right here inside the script.js code. So that's mostly got to do with changing the word modal to the word menu. So I'm targeting menu overlay and saving into the menu variable. I'm keeping the btn and close class code the same. In the for loop, I'm attaching the event listener to each of the close class items. There's only one, so I could have done it differently, but it doesn't matter. The only thing that really needs to be changed here is accessing the menu instead of the modal. And same thing goes for this btn click event listener. And now that I've saved all my changes here, I can click the trigger modal, and it shows the full screen menu, and now I can click to close it. Of course, this can be made to look a bit better. For example, I can add, let's say, burger menu, or just change it from trigger modal to trigger menu, and rename this to trigger, well, just menu, I guess. menu. And then once I save this, I also need to update the JavaScript. So back in here, instead of trigger modal, I have trigger menu, and press Ctrl S. Click on the menu, close, so everything still works. And I could now perhaps style this a bit better, center it, make it larger, change the close to an X, or line up the links one after the other. But that's all mostly CSS work, and it's no longer really, well, it's not really relevant for these videos right here, because all of these videos that you are watching are particularly aimed at how to do things with JavaScript, and that's the important part. The point of this specific video is to show how you can reuse that modal code and make it into a full screen navigation code very easily by just switching up a few class names and pretty much keeping the same logic of your code. All right, pretty short video, but I hope you've learned a bunch, and I'll see you in the next one.